Once upon a time there was an angel. She lived far away from planet Earth in the heavenly kingdoms where joy, love, and lightness reigned. Now and again she looked down at planet Earth, and this made her so sad. What she saw was that all living creatures, the human beings, the animals, and the plants, suffered terribly. And this wasn't all. The planet itself was just about to die from shortness of breath because the humans had decided that life on Earth should consist of mere struggle, want, and suffering. There were lots of wars, big, violent wars between countries and peoples. A lot was spoken about them in what the humans referred to as the media. But there were also the smaller wars, little everyday struggles between humans who thought that there would be no room left for themselves if they didn't fight the others. And finally, there were the invisible wars within the individual human beings themselves. Wars that took place because so many people suffered from the delusion that they weren't good enough as they already were, but that they had to fight to become different, thus gaining acceptance from the other human beings. Each and every time the angel looked down upon planet Earth, she became so very sad, and she thought, there must be another way for the humans to live. If they could only remember who they really are, they could live according to this remembrance. In those moments, she got an uncontrollable desire to disguise herself as a human and travel down to planet Earth, where she would tell the humans about their true nature and about life as it could be if it was governed by joy, love, and lightness. With all her heart, she wanted to become an agent of love on planet Earth. Then one day the angel made the decision to descend to planet Earth in a human body. She left home convinced that this would be an easy mission. Just pop down to Earth and tell the humans about the other, lighter, lovelier way to live life, and then they would undoubtedly follow her example, and the message would spread like wildfire all over the Earth. But it turned out to be not nearly as easy as she had thought. When the angel had arrived on Earth, one could almost believe that she had forgotten her mission. All too soon she became so engulfed with the ways of earthly life that it seemed as if she too believed in all the hard beliefs of the humans. She suffered and froze and fought and struggled in the exact same ways as the humans.
This winter has been a long and frozen road, and though she bought a brand new coat, the days of feeling good were much fewer than they should. This winter has been a dark and windy night, and though she tried to fix the light, the sense of being clear always seemed to disappear. And still she's a believer. This funny feeling won't leave her. It goes on and on and on and on, telling her not to worry. worry, 'cause somewhere right behind the sun, there's no being sorry at all. This loving has been a long, continuous doubt, and though she tried to sort it out, the sense of feeling high were just passing us aside. This loving has been a cold and lonely walk, and every time she tried to talk, the sense of feeling right seemed to turn into a fight. And still she's a believer. This funny feeling won't leave her. It goes on and on and on and on, telling her not to worry, 'cause somewhere right behind the sun, there's no being sorry at all. Goes on and on and on and on, and telling her not to worry, 'cause somewhere right behind the sun, there's no being sorry at all. She's a believer.
She was, after all, a believer. No matter how hard life on earth seemed to be, she gradually became better and better at feeling the joy in her heart. A voice within her told her, "Remember who you are, and remember that everything actually is okay." One day the angel stood up and said to herself, "No more moaning and groaning. Finally, I am ready to fulfill my mission on planet Earth. I am ready to fight for love." And she walked out into the world at a steady pace. The angel was very industrious. She gave lectures during which she spoke and she talked and she explained to her audiences about how they should change their lives. She told them about love and about the obvious fact that they themselves actually came from the heavenly kingdoms, where joy and lightness reign, and if only they would open their hearts, then everything on planet Earth could change and become really, really nice. And that was not all. When the angel walked the streets of planet Earth, she would always stop the people she met and make a great effort to make them understand all the wise and very, very clever things that she knew. Things that the earthlings obviously did not know, or at least didn't seem to remember. And whenever she was invited to a party, she would always give a long speech about how one could get a much better life by listening to the things that the angel tried to explain. Eventually, the angel was so fortunate as to appear on television, which meant that she gained an opportunity to talk to very many people all over the planet. She even got her own website, which enabled her to spread the joyous message to even more people. The angel worked and worked, but the mission that she had believed would be so easy turned out to be much harder than she had imagined. It seemed as if the humans simply weren't interested in finding another way of living. They claimed that all that love stuff was nothing more than a load of rubbish, and if they simply opened their hearts just like that, they wouldn't be able to cope with life on planet Earth. That was not the way things worked. She had misunderstood everything. They said that it is very important that you remember what others do unto you so that you can be sure to retaliate. We cannot just walk about forgiving one another. As you make your bed, so must you lie on it. Mind you, God helps those who help themselves. A leopard cannot change its spots. You should never bite off more than you can chew. You'll always find yourself between a rock and a hard place. You might as well expect to have to jump from the frying pan into the fire, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. As you sow, so shall you reap. Stop wearing that foolishly happy grin on your face. Life is hard. These are things that you simply have to learn.
All you're doing is wrong, and that you have to work on being strong by hardening up your heart and play another card. They say that King of Salt gives the appropriate reward, and they say that sensitivity hurts, and that it doesn't work unless you convert by giving in and try to let your senses die. They say that trusting a queen of hearts will only tear your life apart. And mostly when they say it, they seem so very sure, but in the eyes, the hearts reveal a doubt. And though the voices shout it, they're kind of insecure, 'cause they're hoping that the way you show will free their spirits out. But then they say that love is making you blind, and if you choose it, life will leave you behind. And so you have to hide the softness of your pride. They say that hiding is providing that no one slips inside. shore, but in the eyes, the hearts reveal a doubt. And though the voices shouted, they're kind of insecure, because they're hoping that the way you show will free their spirits out. But then they say that love is making you blind, and if you choose it, life will leave you behind. And so you have to hide the softness of your pride. But don't forget that hiding is providing that no one slips inside.
The course of the angel's mission was a wobbly one. Many times she thought that now the hearts of the humans were about to open up. Now they were beginning to understand the things that she was trying to tell them. Now they were close to realizing that life on earth had been built on misunderstandings and errors. But every time she became a little optimistic, she was met with renewed opposition. When reason, seriousness, and determination grabbed hold of the humans, the road to lightness, love, and joy, as she knew them from the heavenly kingdoms, looked practically endless. And her message and her mission seemed almost ridiculous and naive, and not at all compatible with the difficult and serious life on planet Earth. In moments like these, the angel took to the only way out that she could think of. She danced. She danced while listening to music so wonderful that she forgot both time and place, and it never failed. When she had danced for a while, came laughter. She laughed and laughed and danced, and her body felt light as a feather and swirled around in the air, just like she knew it from the heavenly kingdoms. And because she laughed so heartily, the people that lived nearby inevitably heard her and swarmed around her house and looked through the windows and said to one another, "How amazing! How can she dance and laugh like that when the world is so bungled up and there are so many important things that need to be done? She really doesn't understand what life on earth is all about." But in their voices you could hear that they were yearning for the freedom that the angel radiated through her dance and her laughter.
Walking round on planet Earth ain't easy for a start. Meeting shining souls who don't remember who they are. Treating each other with hardness, just as if loving was not a decision. And treating themselves with unkindness, just as if living it was a competition. Why don't you dance a little? Why don't you sing a little song? Why don't you just laugh a little? It feels so good, it can't be wrong. Words like these are what you wish to say, but minds like that would sing blues as chat and walk away. No, they wouldn't stay, and they wouldn't play. It feels so good, it can't be wrong. Words like these are what you wish to say, but minds like that would sing Lucy's chat and walk away. No, they wouldn't stay, they wouldn't play. But then at least you can fly. You can offer this old world a dance with the sky, and then you can try to release all the starlight that shines in your own eye. Oh, and why don't you dance a little? Why don't you sing a little song? And why don't you just laugh a little? It feels so good, it can't be wrong. Why don't you dance? And tell me, why don't you dance? Oh, and why don't you dance? Oh, and why don't you dance?
As the angel returned to herself after her long and revitalizing dance, she was very surprised with what she saw. Something had changed. The humans moved in a different way. Not all of them, of course, but enough of them to make a visible difference. Some even incorporated small, imperceptible dance steps as they walked the earth. And another thing was completely different. People smiled. At one another, at themselves, at the sky, at the ground upon which they walked, at the trees, at the birds, and all the other animals, even at the slugs. They smiled at politicians and civil servants and arms manufacturers and warmongers and the former president, George W. Bush, and... whoops, got a bit carried away there. And the humans said, "You know, that there angel, right? Early on, she worked so hard to make us understand that we should try living like this. But what she didn't understand was that it was impossible. It couldn't be done until now, where the planet and all the other people have changed as they have now. Of course, it was easy for her to laugh and dance, whereas the rest of us, who had more important things to do, just couldn't fool around like that. Before now, that is, with everything changed." But the angel stood by herself and smiled, because what she knew was that the only reason that life on earth had changed was that the hearts of the humans had opened up, and that this could have happened much earlier if the humans had dared believe in it. But all that didn't matter now. The only thing that mattered was that whatever it was, well, it worked. The mission of the agent of love on planet Earth was completed.
When you came to this earth, you were a little scared of the folks you didn't realize how people's minds are evoked. You tried to teach them about the love from heaven above, and it was hard, and you got scarred from the start. But then it worked alright, just like you thought that it might. Love turned out to be the key to the light, and now the people who dare being aware worked all right. Words are silver, but acting well is gold. That's what you learned once more. Although this truth is old, it seemed that magic started when you began to play, 'cause it made people on earth live in a different way. And then it worked alright, just like you thought that it might. Love turned out to be the key to the light, and now the people who dare being awake and aware have a chance to live with care. Well, it worked alright, just like you thought that it might.